Allah is all we need. That's it. We don't need anything other than that. So we face people who think the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come, so we don't need to do anything. We could just sit back, we could just go do a little dua, maybe. That's it. That's done. Because the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised us, it will come. That's all we need. Nothing else is needed. So we look at situations around the world. We look at things like poverty and lack of education in the Muslim world. From my village itself, the women are not taught anything. The men are given very limited education because the resources, the limited resources. But yet this will blow over, this will be solved if we just trust in Allah. We do nothing else. Trust in Allah and poverty will go. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised. Is that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us? Is that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to do? Trust in Allah and poverty will go. We look at another thing. Kufr in the Muslim world. What do you know about kufr in the Muslim world? Kufr in the Muslim world. We look at any Muslim world today. There are things that if we accept as normal, we will become kafir. So if we accept alcohol to be okay, we are kafir. But yet in the Muslim world, even in Arabia, our holiest city, Mecca, the holiest city, in Arabia, the holiest land, the land of where the Rasul was born, where the Quran came down, has alcohol. Bangladesh, prostitution is legal. Legal, people allowed to do it. This is a Muslim country. So what do? Do we just trust in Allah and that's it? It will go. Is that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to do? Just trust and then it will go. Things will just blow over, that everything will be just nice. Another thing I want to look at is occupation, war. Numerous countries we come across. Let's start from Chechnya, just around the corner, right? Bosnia, just around the corner, right? Somalia, Yemen right now. Yemen right now. There's Iraq, Afghanistan, Kashmir. We have the Central Asian countries, a province in China. These are all occupied lands. Afghanistan, Kashmir, these are all occupied lands. All people suffering. People being killed by the leaders, people being killed by the authority. People dying just because they want to follow Islam. Or people dying just because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just because there's oil under their feet, or there's some sort of commodity, or some sort of need for another nation. They're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Children dying, women being raped, men being used as shields, experiments. This is just going to go if we have trust in Allah. Is that what Allah tells us to do? Is that what Allah asks us to do? Just trust in Him and everything will blow over. And there's one other very important thing. There is nothing higher in Islam than what Allah tells us, right? We understand that. What does that mean? Allah tells us to do certain actions, and we must fulfill them. That is what it means to be a Muslim. We submit to the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has certain hukums, such as stoning the adulterer, ban of alcohol, praying salah. That's not an option. That's not just something you choose to do. This is everyone must pray salah, fast during Ramadan. But yet, these hukums are just left to the side for individuals to follow if they wish. Is that what Allah has told us to do when He says the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the highest? You know, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has judged, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Muhammad has made a decision on something, that is the only way. Do we just leave the hukums of Allah by themselves? We just throw them to the side and use whenever we want them to. There are hukums of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that govern society, yet these hukums are not implemented. No place in the Muslim world is the hukums of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala implemented to the full extent. Not even Arabia. Again, the land of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The place where he was born, where the Quran came down, where the first martyr of Islam was. No Islam, no hukums, only the hukums that benefit the ruler. Only the hukums that benefit the ruler. That's with all other nations. If we look at places like Libya, this man, he's invented his own Islam. He rejects hadith and brought out his own book. And this is a Muslim land. This is what we call an Islamic land. But yet, we expect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will just solve these problems. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, He's promised us, you know, with the revelations about the end of days and Mahdi will come and the world will go into a big war and poof, that's it. It's going to be this place of utopia. Is that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us? That the Mahdi will bring utopia. Or the Mahdi will solve the problem because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send him. Is that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us to do? Is wait for this Mahdi. Is that what the revelations of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam were for? For us to just sit back and just rely on them. But yet we will not use this same understanding on other aspects, on individual aspects, because we look through when exams come, when we need to get that job. We'll do that big dua, but we'll prepare ourselves as well. We'll go out and we'll look for the correct way to talk to in an interview, how to dress. So we understand that for these certain personal things, we need to do actions. We need to relate them to actions. But for these, we just rely on Allah. Is that what Allah has told us? Does that make sense to any of us today? So what is tawakkul? What is it? What am I trying to tell you? What am I trying to? What message am I trying to pass to you? I'm going to read a few ayats of the Quran, and then and then I'll explain to you what these ayats are trying to tell you. This is from Al-Imran again, Surah Al-Imran, the 3rd chapter. If Allah helps you, none can overcome you. If He forsakes you, who is there after that can help you? In Allah then let believers put their trust. Again in Al-Imran, then when you had taken a decision, put your trust in Allah, for Allah loves those who put their trust on Him. This is from At-Tawbah, Surah At-Tawbah. Say, nothing will happen to us except what Allah has declared for us. He is our protector, and on Allah let the believers put their trust. This is just 3 from many in the Quran talking about trust in Allah. What do we understand from these ayats? We understand that tawakkul in Allah is a fard. It must be there for every Muslim. We must have tawakkul. If anyone rejects this tawakkul, they are now a kafir. You are no longer Muslim. We must, as Muslims, have trust in Allah in all actions that we do. This makes tawakkul, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the biggest obligations, one of the greatest obligations. We must have tawakkul in any action. So I'm not telling you not to have tawakkul.